guys, it's Dan Book Nook Noggin, and we're here to talk about David Barclay's The Maker's Box. A FedEx Realm sent me this for a fair and honest review, and to be honest with you, I did not read the back of this book, so I had no idea what it was about. I saw the cover and the title, and it kind of made me think it was like a Dybbuk. If you're not familiar with a Dybbuk, I know I'm getting way off topic here, but I thought it was like a Jewish horror story, like, you know, the Dybbuk box. I thought it was something to do with that, but I was way wrong. And I'm going to read you the synopsis on the back just because it speaks in dreams, it whispers in the darkness. This way I can tell you, you know, what the book's about without spoiling things. Emily has been obsessed with the occult since her mother died, collecting every pagan curio and oddity she can find. Then on the night of her 16th birthday, her father gives her a piece of real magic, a beating human heart inside a wooden box. If the gift weren't strange enough, his instructions are even stranger. You'll need to feed it to keep it alive. The box needs her blood, and in exchange shows her rousing and wondrous things, desires she never knew existed. But as Emily's father lapses into addiction as she grows weak with blood loss, she realizes all too late the box has desires of its own. Yeah, so that's what the book's about. It's roughly 125 pages. I think on Goodreads it said it was only 92, but it was way more pages than 92 pages. So we have the main character of Emily. It takes place somewhere in New York State. I don't think it ever really said where it was in the state. And there aren't really anything in the story to say, hey, this is New York. I didn't even know what time period it took place in because there's not really, I mean, you get the teen girl using a cell phone every once in a while. Not so typical teens, I guess. I enjoyed this. I did like it. I felt like sometimes the author was using way too big vocabulary words. Like there were some words that was just like, oh, I've never seen that word used anywhere before. And I'll admit I was too lazy to go look it up to see what they meant because in the, you know, the context and the way they were used, it was just like, yeah, whatever. I'm just not going to bother looking that up. I'm like, I felt like it was kind of over the top that the author would use certain words that I'd never seen anywhere. I've never used. I was like, why? Why use that word? Are you trying to flourish your writing? I don't know. He does have another book that is, it came out from Silver Shamrock. I know we're not supposed to mention Silver Shamrock after all that went down with them. The Devil's Mistress, I do have a copy of that. I after reading this, it's definitely prompted me to want to go check out that one. But enough, I'm rambling. Let's get back to this book. I did enjoy it. I thought it was a little weird, the whole thing with the heart in a box. One of the other things I didn't really care for, besides the big word usage, was I didn't like the fact that the author kind of introduced characters. Like there was an overabundance of characters. I get it, she's a teen. But there were some unnecessary like interactions that just didn't propel the story forward. I mean, I guess they kind of did in a way. Yeah, maybe it did a little bit. But I felt like there was a lot of unnecessary like things going on in the book. Like her neighbor Noah, who was her best friend. There were things going on with his life I felt were very unnecessary to propel and move the story forward. It was kind of a short novella, so I felt like it could have been developed into a bigger story. I had a lot of questions in regards to who the heart belonged to. That was the major force that was keeping me wanting to read it, was just the whole mystery of who does the heart belong to, and why is this heart in a box? That was the major driving force for me wanting to finish and read this book, was just to find out who the heart belonged to, why it was in a box, and why was it being passed around to people, and why did it need to be fed blood. That was just like the main driving force for the story. Once you find out why, the who, the why, and all that, I felt like that story could have been a little more developed. Especially when the character kind of mentions something about a maker of their own. So, like, they've had there's some kind of backstory going on that I felt like could have been, could have made this a much bigger story. Probably would have made this a little more enjoyable if we would have had some more backstory. It did kind of read kind of rushed. It's like, well, Emily's got this heart. She's feeling weak and exhausted. She's feeding this heart. She's having nightmares, and all of a sudden she needs to find out who this heart belongs to. It became a mystery, and it was like Scooby-Doo and the gang with this, her neighbor Noah and all that. I mean, I did enjoy it. I found that the character who the heart belonged to, I found them to be a very interesting character. And for some reason, I kept picturing them as being like some guy from Something Wicked This Way Comes. He felt like a Ray Bradbury kind of character. And like they mentioned that this guy, all the events revolving this guy took place in the late 80s, and I'm like, oh man, that wasn't that long ago. But then again, if you really count the years, yeah, it has been a while. So I did enjoy this. I gave it a 3 out of 5 star rating on Goodreads. I feel like this could have been a much more developed story. It could have been a lot more developed. There was like some interesting things that the author had touched upon that made the story interesting. I just wish he would have elaborated a little more on those things. I think it could have been a potentially great story if he would have elaborated on the backstory with the magician and the heart and all that. But it is what it is. It's a small, short, little, fast, quick read. 125 pages. It's not very long. Yeah. There's not much more I can say about it. I really don't want to spoil it for you guys. I want you to be intrigued. Like I said, the major mystery of who the heart belonged to and why the heart's in the box, why it needs to be fed and all that was the major driving force. Once you get past that, the story does get interesting, but like it doesn't pan out like the way you think it will. The ending I thought was a satisfactory ending for the book, but like I said, it could have been a little more developed. 3 out of 5 stars, guys. Of course, as always, for you folks in the USA, we'll have a link to Amazon down below. I'm also going to throw it on my Coffee, and if you don't mind donating $1 or $2, it would be greatly appreciated. If you came here looking for more book reviews and book recommendations, by all means, hit that subscriber button and hit that notification bell. This has been Dan. This has been The Maker's Box by David Barclay. Definitely go check it out if you are someone who's kind of into thriller mystery kind of deals. I think you might like it. Till next time, later.